be prosecuted as adults.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
yield
Chair.
back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Garcia from California.
Thank you, Chairman Comer. I want to just also say this clearly, and I know that we all believe this. Violent crime, we know, has no place in our communities. People absolutely have a right to be concerned about crime. As a former mayor, and a lot of us have been in local government, we know that those concerns are real on the ground. Now, Democrats believe in investing in solutions that actually make people safer. Now, Mayor Bowser, Chairman Mendelson, Attorney General Schwab, now can each of you just confirm with a yes or a no that you agree with me that one, we need to make sure that we have local officers on the beat, that two, that we're investing in community partnerships and organizations on the ground, and three, that we're building trust with law enforcement. Are those things important, Mayor Bowser?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
A.G. Schwab? Yes. Thank you. Now, Mr. Jackson, is it also true that President Trump has actually destroyed and eliminated many of the programs which fight gun violence and save lives?
Yes, sir.
And did President Trump also not eliminate the Office of Gun Violence Prevention, of which, of course, you were very involved in leading?
Yes.
Thank you. And also, Mr. Jackson, is it not true that the Office of Gun Violence Prevention and the other work in the administration was literally focused on making this country safer?
That's correct.
Now, Mayor Bowser, as a former mayor, I know how hard, of course, you are working to keep people safe. You have said that mass ICE agents on the streets of D.C. are not helping, which I appreciate, and all of us appreciate. And of course, today we could be talking about more community policing. We could be talking about illegal guns. We could be talking about real partnerships and fully funding Washington, D.C. But we can't do that, of course, because the majority continues to ignore the crimes and corruption at 1600 Pennsylvania and the corruption of this administration. Now, we can't pull out a full map of Washington, D.C., but there are other corruption hotspots across the district. Now, let's look right next door to the White House. Here is the headquarters of the Office of Management and Budget. Just next door, OMB ordered the unlawful freezing of more than $425 billion in congressionally authorized funds. This ovulates the law. It's corruption. It's a crime. This has hurt communities in D.C. and across the country. They're blocking funds for energy, education, law enforcement, and much more. Now, let's go down the map a few miles south. Here is the Department of Homeland Security, where Secretary Noam has ordered unlawful deportations and unleashed masked federal agents to harm innocent people across the country. And we have no idea, by the way, of who's following that and who's not. Who's following what rule, who is not. What we do know is that the legal rights of people and due process is being ignored. If we go up the map back to the north on Maryland Avenue, we have the Department of Education, also in D.C., more crimes and corruption. Here, the Trump administration illegally froze billions of dollars of K-12 and adult education funding. They even froze funding for mental health. And they're trying to illegally dissolve the agency in violation of the law. Again, more crimes and corruption in Washington, D.C. This would devastate children across the country, especially those with disabilities. Now, if we go back downtown, here's the Department of Commerce, where Trump and the Secretary are breaking the law by illegally imposing tariffs without congressional approval. And all is being done in violation of the law, according to the U.S. Court of Appeals. And finally, if we go across the river, another part of D.C., to the Pentagon, Secretary Hegseth is politicizing the military. He leaked classified information, putting Americans in uniform at risk, and he's illegally seized control of the National Guard and ordered soldiers to illegally engage in law enforcement activities. And so we can map D.C., we can map where crimes is happening, we can map where corruption is happening. This, of course, is all we know, just the tip of the iceberg. Now, we could list nearly every agency across the government and every federal building on a map at where crimes and corruption are happening in the district. But we will not, in this process, be silent where this crime and corruption is happening. I want to thank, again, all of our witnesses for your work to lower crime in the district and to lower the temperature across your population. I thank you all very much. With that, I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Goffman from Wisconsin.
Thank you very much. I'll point out this idea of crime going up or down. Crime, it depends what year you take as your base year. I guess in Washington, D.C., the all-time high was in 1992, where we had 482 murders. That's just almost beyond belief. Last year, we had 187. If you go back 10 years to 2014, we had 105. So you could say the murder rate almost doubled, or you could look at, what we were at 220 and say it fell dramatically. But in any event, I think the number of murders in Washington, D.C. is an embarrassment. The amount of crime is embarrassment. I guess the thing is what we're doing to solve it, and we just heard 4 experts apparently on the topic give their opinion. I sometimes, when I'm back in my district, which is not Washington, D.C., do ride-alongs with local police, local sheriffs, local police, what have you. And I ask them what the causes of crime, and almost uniformly they talk about the breakdown in the family and how families are not as strong as they once were, is how they're not fathers in the family. And I think if you look at statistics, which are hard to find, on the background of people committing crimes, you frequently look at what I would describe as weak families and fatherless families. Nevertheless, 4 of you in your prepared statements and talked about what we're doing to reduce crime. Not one of you mentioned the decline of the role in the decline of the role of the father in the family over the last, it's been just getting worse over the last 60 years. I'd like to ask you, are any of you doing anything to try to keep more fathers at home and being mentors for these kids? The vast majority of murders are committed by males. Are you doing anything along the line to get the fathers back in the home?
Congressman, let me answer that by saying and I know that I focused a lot on our law enforcement efforts, but we commit to and invest in a lot of prevention efforts as well, from incredible and effective funding of our public schools to our...
Yeah, I only got 5 minutes. We got to
Yes, to
address
our-
the topic. What are we
Yes.
doing to get fathers in the home?
Well, sir, we take the position that we support families in whatever form they come in, and we make investments that the government is responsible for. Great schools, great health care, safe streets.
Mr. Jackson, could you want to try to answer that question? Are you doing anything?
Yes,
Talk about the
a
importance.
major priority for funding for community violence intervention programs focused directly on mentorship with young men. In D.C., we have a program called Pathways. We work directly with those who are most at risk, and it's about everything from not just preventing violence, but how to strengthen their ability to be fathers, to be leaders, to be providers and protectors in the home.
Well, are we doing anything to make sure that a higher percentage of children born in the district are born in families in which there's a father in the home? Are we doing something to address that problem, which to me is the big problem? And again, we have these hearings on crime, and none of the witnesses seem to be addressing the root cause of the whole problem.
If I can, that $812 million that was terminated by the Trump administration cut community violence intervention programs. Many of them do precisely that. So if that's a priority, we should be funding, doubling down, and scaling out that work.
I'm not sure that's true, but any of the other guys, Mr. Schwab, are you aware of anybody doing anything to talk about the importance with Washington's youth of having a dad at home when that child is born? Is anybody addressing that problem in the city?
Every day, all day, sir, people are talking about how do we strengthen the family, how do we strengthen communities for young people, how do we make sure that young people have role models, family members, and others. Let me mention one other thing that's important from the work that my office does that doesn't make a lot of press. But one of the things we have a responsibility to do is do child support enforcement. And we know
No, that's not the problem. The problem
Non-custodial-
is we don't need a guy paying child support or having his wages garnished.
We-
The problem is we need a guy in the home. So what are we doing about getting the guy in the home?
We're trying to make sure in the enforcement of our child support rules that we are lowering the friction between non-custodial parents and custodial parents
Okay,
so that
so-
kids raised in the home have
So we're
both
not
parents
addressing the
engaged.
problem. Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't agree that we're not addressing the problem at all. We are trying to increase family stability. We, the government,